noted provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos gets banned from Twitter. So what? He gets even more popular. His audience grows. Milo Yiannopoulos loses his book deal with Simon & Schuster. So what? He'll get a better book deal, and his popularity will grow. Milo Yiannopoulos disinvited from CPAC. Meh. Milo Yiannopoulos resigns from Breitbart News. Well, let's see what happens now. It is very possible that he could recover from this and grow his audience more. The scandal is such that it's questionable whether he will or he won't. Milo suggests that it was a bad choice of words and that he was edited out of context to make him look bad. Before we go into some of the details, let's hear from his own words, things he has to say about it.
You've probably seen by now reports and videos that allege that I'm some kind of apologist for pedophilia or some kind of enabler of child abuse. Nothing could be further from the truth. And I find those crimes to be absolutely disgusting. I find those people to be disgusting. And I think that my reporting on this speaks for itself.
Before we go further, Milo is most known for making obnoxious and provocative statements that are meant to provoke and offend.
Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much.
Surely the one line he's best known for being a troll.
I've exposed 3 pedophiles in my career. One of them, Nicholas Nyberg, who was a anti-Gamergate activist who supported white nationalism and described himself as a pedophile. Another was Luc Bozier, a London entrepreneur, former business partner of Louise Manch, who was caught asking for underage material online. And a third one, Chris Layden, is a London photographer who I exposed and who is about to start a rape trial as a result of my reporting. I've also, on many occasions, blisteringly criticized the left for its constant excuse-making over pedophilia. In particular, Salon, which publishes Todd Nickerson, a so-called virtuous pedophile, a guy who thinks that he's okay because although he's attracted to children, he doesn't actually do anything.
To his credit, all true. I had never heard of Milo, would have no reason to be familiar with Milo or even anyone at Breitbart. And last year, with all the videos online of the protests against Milo and others, like Christina Hoff Sommers, Steven Crowder, Dave Rubin, and others, he came to my attention, and he's somebody I would never have been interested in, never have followed. I was following because of watching the protest videos, and I can't say I've become a fan of Milo in any way, but he attracted my attention because of what was going on with the SJWs and the free speech issue. That's the only context that I followed Milo Yiannopoulos. But he certainly caught my attention by people trying to shut him down and keep him from having expressed his opinions. Many of us have argued that no matter how odious or despicable an opinion is, it's better to have them out in the marketplace of ideas where the best ideas can win. Bad ideas get exposed for what they are. And if your ideas are superior, then they should be on the marketplace of ideas with the bad ideas, and you will win out. In the end, good ideas will always win out over bad ideas. I want for people like Milo what I want for myself. If I'm able to have my opinion and if I'm able to voice my opinion, I want others to be able to voice their opinion. Now, we talked about the marketplace of ideas, and he has, by provoking so many people, he's become a target. And this latest very terrible accusation, and he calls it editing, really, it's, when it's dirty, when the fighting gets dirty, it's dirty. He's out there, he's challenging people, he's, in your face, and he's trolling, and he's real playful about it. But sometimes you play rough, you get hurt, right?
Wrong.
Right?
Wrong.
Right?
Wrong.
Come on, you're always saying right. Say right this time.
Wrong.
Oh, Cenk, why you say wrong?
The rest of the media is covering this story completely wrong.
Oh, I get it, Cenk. Okay, so we'll let Milo go back to his explanation for what's going on, since the media's got it wrong.
I think my record speaks for itself, and the portions that were edited out of the videos that you've seen show, for instance, me saying that I agree with the current age of consent, that I support, I support the current age of consent, that it's quote, about right, end quote. I think that people can put two and two together and work out why this video is coming out now. This stuff that's been on the internet for a really long time. I think people can understand, you know, obviously there's frustration from some bits of the Republican establishment, but I don't want to blame anyone, because I said the things that you've seen, and some of them were very stupidly worded. Some of the wording that I used was dumb. And if I could go back, in most cases, you guys know, if I say something outrageous or offensive, in most cases my only regret is I didn't piss off more people. But in this case, if I could do it again, I wouldn't phrase things the same way, because it's led to confusions.
To be fair, Milo sounds sincere, and many times when somebody is caught or they get in trouble or there's a shitstorm, in this case he's saying he got framed, and then they say, well, you know, I would have done something different, or I'm sorry I did that. I'm not surprised that he's saying that he would not change any of the outrageous things he said, but in this case he would, and I really do think he feels that way because it was just unfortunate. But when you're accustomed to saying things outrageous and provocative, sometimes it comes back to haunt you, right?
Right.
Oh, thanks, Cenk. Milo's star was rising, but if things keep up like this, he will disappear into obscurity. However, he could come bouncing back even bigger than ever. We will see.
For instance, I was told that one of the numbers that people are fixating on is 13, and the implication that I was advocating for sex between 13-year-olds. Well, the video that came out was edited to include a section where I said that consent was arbitrary and oppressive, but that was from a discussion about affirmative consent on college campuses. That was placed next to a section about 13-year-olds to make it look like I was saying that consent for 13-year-olds was arbitrary and oppressive, and that's not the case. When I spoke about relationships between older men and younger men, I used the word boys, and I shouldn't have done that. Gay people do say like boy and girl to mean people of you know, consenting adults very often. Sometimes it's like it's usually like the passive partner gets to, you know, is the boy. But I understand that straight people wouldn't necessarily know that, and so you know, that I wouldn't do again. All I would reiterate is you know, you guys know that I can make edgy jokes. You guys know that I can sometimes push the boundaries of acceptable humor. This is one of those cases in which I should have phrased things differently. And these videos from a year ago and a year and a half ago, and I really just had no idea I was going to end up being this famous. You know, late, boozy, long live streams. I phrased things poorly, and I enabled my detractors and critics to assemble material that looked very damning, but which does not reflect my opinions. So for that, I'm sorry, because I know that a lot of you are out there defending me and wondering how to do that, because the material does look so unpleasant and distasteful. Another thing that looks unpleasant and distasteful about it is the tone in which I'm talking. I would just say this. This is something of which I was a victim. It's something that I lived through. It's something that happened to me. It didn't ruin my life. And the reason it didn't ruin my life is I had laughter and I had humor, and I was able to turn it into a joke, and I was able to brush it off and make jokes, make what would or obviously jokes, you know, like getting head from a priest kind of jokes. You guys know that. I understand that a lot of, you know, 60-year-old journalists wouldn't, and would be very horrified by the tone, by the sort of apparently flippant tone that I was using. Again, you know, speaking about this subject, I don't think anything should be off limits for humor, but I do regret some of the word choices. I have been uninvited from CPAC, which I'm disappointed with. The statement from CPAC said that there was a video in which I defended pedophilia. That simply isn't true. I didn't. It was not my intention. It wasn't what the words that I used meant. What I did do, and I stand by, because it's perfectly true, is say that in many, sorry, I have really bad flu, is say that in many gay relationships, well, for many young gay men, the first relationship they really have, the first long relationship they have, is with an older guy who perhaps takes care of them financially, takes care of them emotionally, and very often that can be a release, it can be an escape from an abusive or a uncaring or a difficult household. And if they're having problems at home with their mum and dad, you know, very often kids of 17 will have relationships, for instance, with people of 29 years old. And that's what happened to me, and that's exactly the ages. I was 17 and he was 29. And it was a relationship that ended up lasting a decade. And that's where I was coming from, speaking about my own personal experiences of this stuff, saying that, you know, Of course, this stuff happens and it's disgusting, and I abhor it. Of course, any reasonable person would. It's revolting. And I can only say again, I find nothing but disgust, as my reporting record shows, for people who support and stick up for and make excuses for pedophiles. That is not what I intended to do in these conversations. And speaking from my own personal experience, all I was seeking to convey was that I had a relationship, I had an experience as a 17-year-old with a 29-year-old guy that turned into a 10-year relationship. I mean, my first real proper boyfriend was the guy I ended up being with for 10 years. I'm not with him anymore, but that's a sizable relationship, and not the sort of abusive caricature of, older man kind of using, abusing, and disposing of a younger boy. So I wanted to make some of that stuff clear. I'm going to attempt to reach out to some TV studios to get my point of view across, because it's very frustrating having the media repeat these allegations. It's very frustrating having so many people just blindly repeat things because they don't take the time to sort of see the nuance in the videos, or to appreciate that some of the one video, there was a unedited one, and I have to stand by my words, and I wouldn't phrase those things the same way twice maybe, but the first video that came out was edited very deceptively.
He was great.
Singing teacher.
He got notes out of me I didn't even know I could produce.
Well, he worked your plumbing.
Shattering the chandeliers, kind of.
But was he good?
That's a video clip from almost a year ago, where he is, according to the notes on the screens, bragging about sex with a pedophile, which I guess he is, but when you're a victim, it's kind of a different story. It's not like he was bragging about being a pedophile or witnessing a pedophile attacking a young person. Clearly, how he phrased it, and he's admitted to it, it's wrong how he phrased everything. And very unfortunate.
I do have, some appearances that are going to be coming up over the next couple of days on TV, and one live one, where I hope to be able to explain more fully, for those who want more granular detail, exactly what I meant by, various remarks, and to make completely clear to those people who have pre-ordered my book, who are looking forward to reading Dangerous, which is going to be one of the big books of the decade, to people who enjoy my journalism, people who come to my college shows, to people who are, people who are just Facebook Milo fans, that I in no way at any time condoned or intended to condone, it's not my meaning at all, child abuse, child sex abuse. And indeed, as a reminder, my entire journalistic career has been evidence of the opposite.
There are a multitude of potential outcomes. Only time will tell what will be the fate for poor old Milo. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and please hit the like or subscribe if you like this channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodbye.
Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much. Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much.